Hello and welcome to the Miskatonic Playhouse. My name is Steve, and on behalf of the whole crew here at the Playhouse, happy Pride. With that, let's meet our guest host, keeper of arcane lore, all-around amazing person, Rina.
Hey y'all, I'm Keeper Rina. My pronouns are they, them. I'm of the Old Ways podcast and Ain't Slayed Nobody. This is my Pride scenario. Friends of Dorothy, set in 1981. And I'm very excited to be bringing this to all of you. Please mind the content warnings, including queer phobia. There will be issues with that in this game due to the setting and everything that's going on. So please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and be aware that the content warnings have been discussed with the cast in advance. The X card and the open table are in play. And so I'd like to introduce my wonderful cast, or rather have them introduce themselves, beginning with...
Hi, my name is Alandra Halman, aka Lady Bedivere. You probably know me from here or from Quests and Chaos, and tonight I will be playing Ensign Thea Banks.
Hello, my name is Jo. You might know me from the Embers of Humanity podcast. I will be playing Airman Michael Kowalski.
Hi, I'm Bunny, aka Fiery Ashes, cast member of the Old Ways, and I'm playing Private Hannah Mills, and our pronouns are she, her.
And hi, I'm Steve. You can find me on the socials at Tall Halfling, sometimes Tall Halfling RPG. But tonight, for your medical needs, I'm Corpsman Janice Schmidt, they, them.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to playing with all of you. So, to begin, it is June 1981. It is a warm night. It is a night where all of you have come together for a night of freedom, a night of joy, a night to be yourselves, to be authentically, totally, and wholly you. This is the night before the AIDS epidemic begins. You do not have to worry about all of that yet. There are whispers on the horizon, but it hasn't touched you. It hasn't touched your community yet. All you know is your two lives. The life you live at work, the life you live when you're on your own, when you're away from everything, when you can be free. Tonight is one such night. You have arrived at the Midas Touch, which is a bar set in our small fictional town of Auburn. It is far enough away from each of your respective military bases that you do not have to worry about being seen by people you know. You had to drive a little bit to get here. You don't have to worry about someone walking by and noticing you. It's a safer space, so even though you have to go further away to get here, it is worth the drive. Even if you have to imbibe just a little bit less to make sure you get home safely. You made your way through the bar to the back room where the bouncer waited for you to give the password, Rumpelstiltskin. And you made your way down the stairs to the Emerald Lounge. The Emerald Lounge used to be the speakeasy part of this bar back in the 1920s, and it has been repurposed as a gay bar. It's secret, it's hidden, people don't know it's here unless they've been told to look for it here. And it's small, but it's full of joy. And sometimes arguing, but where isn't? So you've made your way down these small stairs, and you find yourselves in a place you've been many times. There is a small stage at the front where some drag performers are lip syncing and having a grand old time. Heavy velvet curtains of emerald green line the walls to dampen the sound so that it's less noticeable. There's a disco ball hanging from the roof, and tables and chairs have been pushed aside so that there's space for dancing. There's a few couples out there. There's a bar running along the back with Mickey Dale, the barman, who's a big bear of a man in more ways than one, leaning over the bar, mixing drinks, passing peanuts to people. And just the atmosphere is alive right now as you walk in. A little bit of gold glitter or dust sort of floating along the floor. There's always glitter here. There's a lot more of it right now, but there's always glitter here. You've got drag queens and kings everywhere. So as you make your way in, I would like to introduce our characters. So as you come in one by one, I will have you describe what your character looks like and who they are. And we'll go back to introduction order and start with Alandra. So the first one into the bar is...
Ensign Thea Banks enters the bar. She is very tall, and pretty broad-shouldered, but you can't see it as much in tonight's sort of short skirt, big flowy peasant top attire. There's a string of pearls that she's wearing, just kind of barely visible under this kind of floofy, 80s Victorian throwback collar that's happening. A little bit quiet. Always likes to scope out the bar and see who's here before she starts really getting into things, but a little bit of that sense of relief once she's inside and through the door. She is tonight wearing a long brunette wig. She doesn't get to wear this very often except in these spaces, and it's reassuring to feel like her full self. Gonna scope out the bar and go find, I don't know, maybe an empty corner of the bar to wait around and see if anybody I know shows up.
As we introduce each character, I'm going to ask you a question or two about your queerness and your queerness journey to help us understand them a little bit better. So, Thea, does anyone in your family know that you're transgender?
I think my older sister knows. I don't know that we've talked about it. I think she probably figured it out maybe as early as I did. But we've never really said it aloud.
How did you figure it out? What was the moment that made you realize there was something different?
I think it was at home with my sister. I think we were playing dress up, maybe as not quite middle school age. And of course I made a joke that she should just let me borrow her dress because I'd look better in it than she would. And she said, okay, fine. And it turned out I was right.
Mm-hmm. Do you think she would be accepting of you if you actually sat down and had a conversation about being Thea?
I think she would hear it. I don't think she would want to continue the conversation.
So you've been keeping it to yourself, keeping your lives very separate.
Mm-hmm. I do think she is the only family member that I'm regularly in contact with. We have an occasional phone call or letters, and we talk about work. We talk about work. We talk about her husband. We do not talk about my boyfriend.
No, I would imagine not.
Yeah.
All right. And Joe, who do we see
Right.
walk in next?
Airman Michael, or Mike Kowalski, enters into the room. I think he's probably mid transformation. He often wears kind of more cover-up clothes so he doesn't look as loud, but now he's with his people. So I imagine he's kind of taking off the leather jacket. He's got a nice silk purple shirt on that he's getting ready to unbutton down to a really deep V-neck. That in turn uncovers the gold chains around his neck. He's looking around and trying to shake off the nervousness from outside. As he was coming in, his collar was up and he was a little bit not making eye contact with anyone, but he's with his people now, so he's trying to let himself be loose. I think he's probably going to start maybe even straight up going towards the bar, or maybe even uncorking his little bottle he's got in his cap, just to try and take the nerves off. So I think he's going, I need shots and I need them quickly to try and get me in the mood. This is party time. So yeah, that's what he's looking like.
Mm-hmm. So you walk in, you see your friend Thea across the bar, and you head over. What I'd like to know about Mike is, What is the hardest part of hiding being a gay man at work, being in the military?
I think it's keeping a track of all the lies he has to tell. It's like, okay, so it's okay if I call Harry Harriet and talk about him as if he's a she and make it believe that I've got all these, but it's keeping track of the names, it's keeping a track of like where he went last night and who he spoke to and all that kind of stuff. I think he's like lied a lot throughout his life, and at some points he has to maybe even make notes for himself to keep on top of it all. Because there's people in the military that he considers close to him, like friends, but he doesn't know if those are true friends.
I would imagine he doesn't drink too much when he's out with the boys.
Oh no,
Because he has
absolutely not.
keep a lid on things for sure. Is there anyone Mike trusts with his sexuality outside of the community, so to speak?
Probably his best friend might have a bit more of an inkling what's going on. I think it's one of those things where he might know, but they don't talk to each other about it. It's more of the fact that you know my secret and you are keeping my secret is partially why I love you so much as my best friend. And that would be James, his name is.
Yeah, so you got an unspoken understanding there. Excellent. And next into the Emerald Lounge.
Hannah is a petite little 24-year-old that will be bouncing into this bar, so excited in her very neon 80s bold fruit pattern dress with big chunky bakelite fruit patterned jewelry on. The only thing that isn't big and chunky and neon and in your face about this ensemble is like a little cameo necklace she's wearing amongst just giant bakelite fruit hanging around her. And a big old purse at her side. And she is just practically floating as soon as she's through the door and she's with her people. And just big curly red hair that's down for once instead of in a tight little bun. Just bouncing along with her. Big green doughy eyes, looking around to see if she can find anyone she knows. But she's also going to go get something equally fruity from the bar now that she's off duty. So she's going to go straight to the bartender while she looks around.
You see your friends, Michael and Thea, have already gathered in here. They're sitting at the bar as well, getting drinks from Mickey. So for Hannah, someone at work recently found out that you're a lesbian, and they threatened to out you. What did you do? How did you handle that situation?
I wish that, I wish that they wouldn't have resulted straight to threats rather than talking to me about it and trying to understand. But they'll come around eventually, right? So that's why I'm cleaning their bunk for the next 6 months for silence, And hopefully that'll just keep them quiet until they learn enough about me that they wouldn't want to do me harm anyway to begin with. So
yeah, you made a kind of bargain with them.
Yeah.
Has it been difficult hiding your sexuality for your whole life? What's been the most difficult part for you?
Oh, I'm from a very conservative little hometown, and so being amongst that, I really only joined the army at all in hopes that, that would straighten me out some, that I'd be interested in men when I got back. And that has not that worked. A woman in uniform, the The army did more for my sexuality than not being in the army.
Absolutely valid. So you have a little hiccup right now, but you're dealing with it. You've been dealing with this your whole life. You can find a way around this somehow. And last into the bar, always slightly fashionably late compared to everybody else.
Is Janice. It is so good to be able to think of themselves as Janice and not Corpsman Schmidt around the patients. Bright blue, piercing blue eyes, guarded smile at work, but more effusive here. It's the early 80s. So they've got the very tight curls going on. But where they're in uniform or in depending on the setting, nurse kind of uniform at work. They've got some bright colors going on. Very bright colored loose tie. And of course, it's the early 80s, so there's got to be a vest.
Yeah, it has to be a vest.
Oh, yeah.
So Janice comes in and sees the others, this little tight group that you sort of formed over the past year or so of getting to know each other. You see them at the bar and you head on over. And as Janice heads over to the bar, I'd like to know, recently you shared with someone in your unit that you never felt like a girl, but you never felt like a boy either, and that you're working through some things with your gender. Who was it, and how did they respond to it? And why do you trust them so much?
Was another corpsman, so more colleague than than supervisor or subordinate. And I think I felt safe with them because they had explored some questions about who they were as well. They're still very much, in what I was for a very long time, that, there are two choices. So I got I'm going to have to think about that, about choosing none of the above. I'm just me. So I don't know how they're going to respond when they come back. Could be good, could be not.
But you've, maybe for the first time, opened up to somebody about how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think Janice is very confident in their third gender identity, or are they still kind of working out some of how they feel about it?
I think they're confident in their knowledge of themselves. Not quite so confident in how to approach the world around them.
Makes sense. Excellent. All right. So you have all arrived at the bar. You've seen each other. You do know each other. You're friends. You've been friends for a while. You've bonded over the fact that you're in the military, even if you're in different branches. There's that shared bond there because no one else in this club can understand completely what it's like to be in the armed forces and that kind of extra layer of pressure that you have. If you're found out, you're dishonorably discharged. You lose everything. And that kind of understanding between the four of you has bonded you together in ways that, even though you've made friends with other people here, this group these are your people. So you're all sitting at the bar. Mickey has started mixing up drinks, and he looks over at you, Hannah, and says, "Bring me any snacks, Hannah."
Well, of course. And she'll open that giant purse of hers and she'll show off basically a convenience store. I mean, she has been smuggling snacks like a pro. Do you want chips? Do you want nuts? I have some dried fruit in here that I traded somebody for. Hold on. What would you like? Oh, these pretzels are really good. Would you want some pretzels?
Pretzels would be great, Hannah. I know I can count on you. And he laughs as he takes the pretzels and he's mixing you up the fruitiest drink that anyone has ever seen in this entire establishment, because he knows exactly how you like it.
You're the best.
I know. He smiles. He rolls up his sleeves. He's got this big plaid flannel shirt on. He's always wearing plaid flannel. Always. Doesn't matter what the weather is. That is his uniform of choice. And he rolls up the sleeves, wipes down the bar again, and says, "All right, what it'll be for the rest of you. Keeping me on my toes over here."
Nice and easy one for me. Just do me some tequilas, please.
Oh, okay. You know what happened to Eddie when he got on the tequila last time? I don't want any trouble. And he winks at you and starts pouring you a tequila.
You know me. No trouble, Mickey.
Sure, Mike. Sure.
Mike just kind of laughs.
Don't worry, if he starts causing trouble, we'll just have Hannah sit on him until he stops.
Oh, I would pay to see that.
Whiskey neat for me.
Whiskey neat. Janice?
Steve does not drink. Janice does, so Janice knows what to order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gets Janice a beer. All right. Fantastic. So you all have your drinks. You can sit around. I'd like to establish some character dynamics here. Just some understanding of the interplay between the characters by asking a couple questions. What you say when I ask you this question, what you say about the other character is canon. That establishes your relationship. So we'll see what happens here. So Thea, who's your best friend in the group, and why are they your best friend?
Oh no, that's so much pressure. I think it might be Janice, because I think we have a similar I think we have the most similar experience of trying to understand what we're doing in that context of who we are ourselves and how we have to present at work.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question for Alandra. So I had said that I had recently been chatting with a colleague who was exploring kind of similar things. Was that you? Or was there is there an NPC off screen somewhere?
I think that could be either one. I hadn't considered that maybe our work overlaps as well. So maybe we do know each other at work. I'm fine with it being me. If you want to go with that, or if you want it to be a different work colleague and I know you through the bar friend context, the Venn diagrams.
Either is fine. I put some words into that unnamed person's mouth, so let's go ahead and make them an NPC, and
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Janice. Hannah recently helped you out of a difficult situation. What was that situation, and how did she help you?
I think she walked into a little bit of a confrontation with somebody to be specified later, who was figuring things out on their own and not so okay with it. Maybe not the person whose bunk she's now cleaning, having taken their eye off of me. And
So maybe Hannah got involved and unintentionally redirected some of that attention to herself.
yeah, I don't think I saw that coming, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Hannah, what was your first conversation you had with Mike? What was it about? First time you met here at the bar.
We were both jamming to the same song that came on the jukebox, and just we had ordered completely opposite drinks. There could not be anything more different about the two of us standing next to each other at the bar. But then this song came on, and we both just start singing along by instinct. Like we couldn't help ourselves. We weren't at work. We could be ourselves, and the song comes on, and we just start singing along. And then we look at each other, basically diametrically opposed people, just belting this song out together, and we dissolved into laughter at this bar. And it just turned into this lovely conversation about music, and I was hooked. This person is lovely and delightful, and a good counterbalance to my personality.
He is that. All right. So, Mike, what hobby do you share with Thea?
Oh, oh God. I want to say motorbiking. I want to say we love a good ride. Yeah. I think we've been talking about like going away and like legitimately just going on a ride. Like maybe like heading to Scotland, doing the Indy 500 or something, you know, steering some of our time off. I think that'd be amazing. And we've both got a strong love of our motorbikes, I think.
I love that. That's fantastic. All right. So the four of you all have your drinks. Hannah has brought snacks beyond just the peanuts that Mickey has put out on the bar that from his own personal stash. So you have some snacks. You have plenty of drinks. The music is loud and lively. There is a couple that's bickering over in the corner. They always bicker. And Mickey's keeping an eye on him, and you hear him muttering under his breath, "If I have to break up another fight between you two, I swear." But for the most part, it's people laughing and talking, and you can barely hear yourselves sometimes over just the sheer joyful euphoria that is happening in this room. Do you get up and dance? Do you talk to each other? Do you sit at the bar and observe? What do the four of you do? What are you like in this space?
I think that Mike is already like 3 drinks deep. And he is trying to drag everyone out onto the dance floor with him. I think he is fully in it now.
As you're trying to drag everybody else out with you, a tall, red-headed man in the tiniest white shorts known to mankind comes up to you, and he looks you up and down, says, "Why, hello there."
Hello.
You're a tall drink of water.
I've already quenched many a thirst. I'm afraid I'm spoken for, but...
Oh, that's a shame. Well, not a shame for him, though.
No. He's a lovely man.
I'm sure. Would have to be to get someone like you. And he winks, and he gives you another long, slow look up and down, and he saunters off to the dance floor, and his hips are shaking, like side to side, in those teeny tiny shorts.
I watch him go, but I'm faithful. I'm good.
Hannah, in true drunk 24-year-old fashion, having downed most of the sex on the beach that she was given because it's both fruity and it makes her giggle at the name every time she gets it, no matter how many times he gives it to her. She's downed most of her sex on the beach and is right up next to Mike's ear and is like, he called you a tall drink of water, but I think you're not water anymore. Like, that passed a long time ago.
What do you think I am then, Han?
I think you're at least 5% alcohol by volume.
Yeah. Well, that happens when you're about 5'8".
Does anyone else go on the dance floor with Mike, who is swaying slightly from the 3 tequilas?
Oh, I'll finish my drink and set the cup down, the glass down on the counter so I can go dance with Mike. Obviously, we bonded over music. I'm always a dancing bunny.
This is our jam. This is our jam.
This is our jam.
Thea is the designated drink guard. She sits at the bar and makes sure that nobody touches anybody else's drinks.
Love that.
An important role.
We're best friends, so it makes sense. Janice hangs out with Thea, and you know.
Okay. All right. So Janice and Thea hang back at the bar. Mike and Hannah, you go out and you dance. The music is loud. The drag performers are now out dancing on the floor with people as well. Most of the tables and chairs have been pushed all the way back, so there's very few people now who aren't dancing. And I would like dexterity rolls from the two of you just to see how well you're dancing.
I'm pretty good at dex, but I think that I'm stumbling a little bit. Is there any, I think I'll probably roll if I can.
Roll with a penalty die?
Yeah, I think that's for the best for me.
Self-inflicted penalty die, here we go.
Well, the first one was a 22, but that's a 74.
So Mike has started off pretty well, but he is stumbling a bit now because there's so many people, and he's seeing 3 of you, Hannah. So he's not quite sure which one to hold on to. How did you do?
I got a 41, so just over half. So I'm in that regular.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not doing great, but I can at least kind of keep Mike up with me.
You're doing a passable job. The important thing is you're having fun.
Oh, 100%.
But Mike does step on someone's foot occasionally, which, you just get an ow and a nasty look from somebody. But you're having a blast out there. People are bumping into you. It's close. There's no real space for people to spread out. And with the kind of dancing you're doing at this point anyway, no one really would be. But space constraints are even more packed in. There's some flailing about from Mike. Some drinks get knocked over because someone thought it would be a good idea to take their drink out onto the floor and dance, and everyone knows you should never do that. And Janice and Thea, you hear Mickey groan as you can see the drink go flying. But it is just a wonderful time. And Thea and Janice, you're watching them dance out on the floor with all of these tightly packed people just laughing and living it up. And a petite person dressed in leather pants, leather jacket. The jacket is open with the harness underneath, wearing a biker's cap, just slides into the seat between the two of you, Thea and Janice. And you know this to be Just in Time, a drag king, one of the most popular short kings here at the bar. And he spreads his arms out and man spreads a bit. So Thea, Janice, welcome. I was hoping you two would show up tonight. I hope you're having a great time.
Always a party, Justin.
I'm sure we'll have an even better time if you performing tonight.
He gives you a look of, are you serious right now? Of course I'm performing. Look at this. How could I not?
Well,
got to get some engines revved up tonight. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. That's all I mean. we're having a nice evening. We'll be having a perfectly lovely evening a little while then.
Mhm. I'm your favorite drag king's favorite drag king. He winks. This huge wink. And he looks at you, Thea, and pats you on the shoulder and says, I hope you're not being too responsible tonight, Thea. You need to loosen up a bit.
You know what? Once I finally just kind of like awkward tries to come up with a like tune-up related mechanic joke, cannot get there fast enough, because is always a little flustered no matter how comfortable she is, and finally just like indicates her like chunky kind of platform heels and just goes, I'm already 6'5" in these. I think I'll just sit here.
My tall goddess. And he looks up at you. He is about 5 foot even. And he does not wear chunky boots because he says that he prefers to leave the height to others. And he just looks up at you with this adoring look on his face. He loves Thea. We all know this. But I'll give you a good time, honey. Don't worry. He pulls on the brim of his leather hat.
Thea nods awkwardly and kind of goes for like a hug, pats, like again, kind of like not sure what to do physically. I think Thea's very fond of Justin, but is still just like, figuring out her body.
Yeah,
these spaces.
absolutely. And Justin slaps you both on the back and says, well, it's party time, and don't sit here too long. You might turn to stone. And he stands up, puts up his arms and flexes his biceps in his leather jacket. And he looks very, not quite intoxicated, but definitely like he's had a little bit too much. But also very powerful and full of himself in this moment in a good way. And he moves out onto the dance floor, making engine revving noises, and starts dancing with the tall man in the tiny white shorts. And you can see him just moving off and having a good time. So the dancing continues. Hannah, you end up pulled away from Michael at some point and find yourself dancing with Michelle, who is a bi woman who you've met and talked with a few times, shared some snacks with, and you dance together sometimes. She always seems to have a good time, but the flow of the people and the crowd kind of pushes you together for a moment and then brings you back over to Michael, who doesn't seem to have completely noticed where he is.
Are there any I was going to ask, are there any like platforms, or is this just a one level sort of place?
There's a stage where the drag performers perform right at the front of the room. Is Michael getting up on the stage?
Oh yeah. Joining them. I'm joining them. I'm trying to get Hannah to come with me.
I tag along. This seems, one, fun, and two, I can make sure that Mike doesn't fall off the stage if he gets up there.
So the two of you get up on the stage and you keep dancing. Janice, Thea, the two of them are now on the stage dancing very drunkenly. But they seem to be having a great time, and there's cheers from some of the crowd, and then Justin gets up on the stage with them and starts like pulling at his jacket as if he's going to take it off. And a couple of the other dancers get up on the stage too, and it's just so euphoric in this moment. Just Mickey is laughing, and you hear the clink of drinks from behind the bar as he's pouring things, and there's music everywhere, and it's just an amazing, incredible time.
Mike,
Yeah.
I could stay like this with you forever. This is so good.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Do you have any glow sticks?
No, but I have this little mirror ball. I stole it off a Christmas tree last year.
That'll do. I'll like pick it up and like make us. It's like a 2-person disco between myself and Hannah.
So you make that tiny little disco and start dancing, and people are loving this. They're applauding and clapping, and You see coming out the end, Janice, you see coming out from a side room where the drag performers get ready. You see this this tall woman, drag queen in stilettos, like beautiful high heels, this 1950s style boat neck dress, tall wig, her hair piled up on top of her head, these beautiful white gloves that go all the way up to her elbows. She comes out and she plants her hands on her hips and looks around at everybody, and then she just gets the biggest smile on her face. And she's just watching Michael and Hannah having a good time, and she's looking like she's debating going in there. And then she looks down at her stockings and her stilettos and thinks better of it, and comes over to you and says, "Darlings, it's so wonderful to see everyone having such a good time." And this is Poppy Cox, the premier drag queen of the Emerald Lounge. She is a Judy Garland impersonator most of the time. And she is a very elegant, regal woman, but she's also very sassy. And she plants a little kiss on each of your cheeks and says, "Being responsible ones while the children are playing, are we?"
Never.
I've seen Janice take at least one full drink, and I'm holds up the half full glass. On my way.
"Well, we can't have this now, can we?" And she looks at Mickey and says, "Another round, darling, another round. This one's on Poppy." And Mickey chuckles and starts making new drinks, even though you haven't completely finished yours yet, Thea.
You're too good to us, Poppy.
Somebody has to be. Your hair looks wonderful tonight, darling. You styled it so beautifully.
Thanks. It's tricky doing it in the in the back of the hall where nobody's around, but turned out pretty good, I think.
It did. It did. Just one moment there, darling. She pulls a little handkerchief out of her pocket and dabs at your lipstick a little bit. There we go.
Thanks.
Stunning. And she looks over at Janice, says, "I love the tie. Love the tie. Yes, that's perfect for your style. I think we're evolving a little bit, dear. It's about time."
Working on it. Working on it. Coming out of the cocoon.
"What are those shoes?" She looks down at your feet, says, "Oh no, we can't have this. We are going to have a conversation after tonight, dear. You went out of the house like that. Oh my. The rest of you fabulous, but the shoes. Mm-mm."
Oh, I've been on my feet for an 18-hour rotation.
She looks down at her stilettos and
I
looks back at you.
understand, but I will take my ability to stand over fashion.
Well, fashion is pain, darling, but fashion is everything. I kid. Mostly. And she pecks you on the cheek just a little bit, says, "You're going to stay for the show, right?
Always.
Can't leave before the Poppy sings."
Of course not.
Why would we want to?
Right? Some people do. Shame. She takes a sip of her drink. Can't have too much. Ruins the vocal cords before a performance, but had to have a little bit of drink with my favorites. And the other two, of course. And she waves at Hannah and Michael. I don't even know if Hannah and Michael notice that Poppy is out here because you're having a great time.
If Hannah allowed it, I would have gotten her onto my shoulders, and she's got the disco ball in the center. If not her, somebody else.
Oh, of course I'm down for this. This
Amazing.
sounds great.
Mm.
I'm like screaming like, "Heart of the disco! Heart of the disco!" Top of my lungs.
Part of the disco. I love it. And so Poppy looks at the two of them on the stage and says, "Maybe it's a good thing you're keeping an eye on them, Thea."
Once you're done performing, I'll buy you a drink and we'll get some water into the two of them. By that point, I think they might need it.
She looks at the whiskey she's got, says, "It's got water in it. It counts."
hydration is important or something like that. Looks over at Janice.
Always stay thirsty, darling. And she knocks back the drink. I will see you later. I've got preparation to do. Got to do my warm-ups and got to wait for the whatever that is. And she laughs to calm down. But do have a wonderful evening the rest of your time. I'm so happy to see you here. I really am. And she saunters her way back to the back room, her hips moving slightly, just a touch of class and elegance is Poppy. And you can tell she's wearing her real human hair wig tonight that she's so proud of, and she looks absolutely classy.
Janice can't help it. She leans over to Thea. She does know that alcohol makes you more dehydrated, right?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure what she does and doesn't know, so I just trust that she knows everything.
Probably a good approach.
So you watch the night go on. Michael and Hannah, you dance until your feet hurt so badly you can't physically stay up anymore. And at some point, Mickey has to get the bickering couple to leave because they've had way too much to drink. And so Thea and Janice, you see him ushering them out, and got his hand on one of them, got a hand on the other one, just keeping them separate. And they're still pointing at each other and trying to have a conversation over the noise. But the night starts to wind down a little bit. Justin performs. He does a James Dean inspired act with a lot more hip thrusting. And he's really a popular performer, so everyone's throwing dollar bills and cheering for him. There's more dancing, more drinking. Thea and Janice, do you drink any further, or do you keep to your kind of 1 to 2 that from Mickey and Poppy?
I'm not gonna go past the one Poppy bought me. I will drink that one because it's been poured. You don't want to let that go to waste. But I will nurse that throughout the night. Possibly ask Mickey for a top up of ice to kind of intentionally water it a little bit.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure I finished that second drink, but it would be rude not to have some.
Hannah and Michael, you're imbibing a little bit more. You're having a grand old time. Eventually, you're about 1 o'clock in the morning. You're all sitting against the bar. Sitting more or less against the bar. Some of you a little bit more upright than others. And it is time for the highlight of the night, which is Poppy's performance. And Poppy sails out onto the stage to a massive round of applause. Everyone is seated now or standing against the wall with their drinks. They're watching. Nobody wants to miss a Poppy performance. And she sings some classic songs, Meet Me in St. Louis, all of these beautiful old songs. And then she doesn't lip sync. Poppy never lip syncs. That is one of her things. She sings herself. And she's got this gorgeous high tenor voice, and just the way she can lean into the happier upbeat songs, or she even dances a little bit in her stilettos and gets everybody moving, or leans into some of the slower songs. It casts a spell over the crowd. And then she pulls out a stool and she sits down for her final song, and she starts to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And there's a hush over the crowd. Nobody speaks. Nobody makes drunken comments at her or calls for other songs like they do sometimes during her other performances. Even though you've heard her sing this song multiple times, it is a moment every time. Just the emotion she puts into the song and the way she looks kind of off stage into the distance. And when she hits the final line, of a why can't I? And that note just hovers over the audience. A bell rings. Loud, clear, harsh. And Mickey startles up from behind the bar and yells, "The cops! Everybody out! Everybody out!" And there's a sudden yell of fear and panic as everybody pulls together. They stand up, knocking chairs over, drinks go flying. People are taking off their wigs or are changing their clothes so that they look like they're wearing the right clothes, taking off dresses, necklaces, taking off men's ties, all sorts of things as they are rushing towards the back doors. It is fear and panic and pandemonium in here because you do not want to be caught. And as all of this is happening, Poppy comes running up to the four of you, wide-eyed, and says, "Come with me. Out, out. Come with me. You have the most to lose out of everyone here. I'm taking you out the back way. Let's go."
Yeah, absolutely. Hannah sort of looks worried at Mickey, but will not linger.
Mickey is ushering other people out of the other doors into the alleyway.
Okay.
Thea will kind of grab Mike in a just like making sure he's not stumbling or tripping, giving that extra support, and just kind of haul him along, gently but firmly.
Yeah,
Gently.
I think Mike always had one of those like instant sober moments, where he is like panicking and grabbing for his coat and making sure like the four of us are together. And he does lean on Thea a bit, but I do think he's gone from like 100 to 0 almost instantaneously.
It is an instantly chilling moment.
Adrenaline does wonders for sobering one up.
And Poppy ushers all of you towards the back, away from the larger crowd. You go through this door off to the side of the stage where, the drag performers get ready. There's costumes hung up on racks. It's very crowded in here. These little stools with the mirrors. There's makeup everywhere. This gold glitter all over the floor, hovering in the air. It's chaotic and frantic, and you see some stools that have knocked over as if people have gotten up hurriedly and moved away already. Poppy yanks the door into the alley open and goes, "Go, go, 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 go."
You're coming too, right?
"Of course I'm coming, dear.
Okay.
Always."
Do you need a lift? Or are you good in those heels?
"I'm good. I can outrun just about anything."
Okay.
Do you all go through?
Yeah.
Okay. You hear her coming through behind you and the door slams shut. And you find yourself somewhere else. You're in darkness. Shimmering gold glitter swirling around you in a lazy, delicate haze. You feel very cold. You can't see or hear anything other than each other for this moment. You don't hear the people running out the other doors into the alley. You don't hear the sirens that you would expect from the cop cars. You don't see a street light or the garbage bins out here in the alley. It's cold and it's dark. And then the gold glitter hovering in the air around you drops. And you find yourselves standing on this a boat in the middle of a still, dark body of water. The gold glitter dances along its surface. There's 3 pale moons hanging in the dark purplish sky above you. The boat around you is these shifting, shimmering colors that your mind can't quite identify. It's purple. No, it's not purple. It's green. No, it's not green. It's orange. No, it's not orange. You can't quite latch onto it. And you realize you're not in Kansas anymore as you make me sanity rolls. And I will make one for Poppy. Okay.
I succeed. I got a 35.
Okay.
26 under 50.
All right.
52 under 60.
Okay, 3 passes.
And making up for everybody else, 96 over 50.
Okay, so it's not a fumble. Not a fumble, which is good, but you are still going to take a D10 sand loss.
Oof.
Everyone else takes the
Oof.
D3.
Cool.
So Thea, you lose 1 point. Hannah, you lose 3. And Michael, you lose 2. Janice, it makes sense, right, for you to be the one who has the most trouble with this because you can't really blame it on the alcohol. Everyone else can kind of rationalize a little bit, like maybe this is some kind of trip. It's from being too inebriated. You're under stress. You're just hallucinating. But you are dead sober, as you lose 7 points of sanity.
Ooh. Okay. So, intelligence check, yeah?
Intelligence, yes, please.
Okay. Sometimes the dice tell a story. That's a fumble the hard way. That's a 100, which weirdly is good.
Oh, yeah, that's a 100. Okay. So I think with the 100, you so completely misunderstand what's going on. You are 100% certain, Janice, that someone was doing some kind of drug in there and you've ingested some of it somehow, and this is a trip. You are 100% convinced of this.
And I think against all of my better better judgment, all of my experience with her as an individual, I think I turned to Poppy. What was in that drink?
Here, darling. And she's looking wide-eyed at the sky and those 3 moons. I think we'd better be asking what's in this.
You had some too.
Slow pirouette. Mhm. Slow pirouette. Pardon the language, dear. What the fuck?
So we all are seeing the same. We're all in the same.
Same boat? Yes. Quite literally.
Did the club change locations?
Last time I checked, we weren't in the middle of a body of water. I would have noticed.
I turn back. Are the doors there still, or are they gone?
All you see is the back of this boat extending out. There's some kind of hutch or something in the middle of it. You're not in a rowboat or anything. You're on a boat. Not quite a full ship, but decent size. You see this hutch, and then you see this dark expanse of water spreading out behind you.
Okay.
Is the boat moving?
It doesn't appear to be moving. You can hear the lapping of the water against it, and it's sort of rocking slightly, but it's not in motion.
Hesitantly, I want to kind of look around at the group, and then I want to start heading maybe toward the back of the boat or the hutch or whatever, and see if there's some sort of. I'm a mechanic. If this thing can move, maybe I can get it moving, because moving
Absolutely.
seems better than standing still right now, given the
Absolutely.
still coming off this adrenaline surge of fleeing the club.
Mm-hmm.
So
As you're looking around and you start moving, you realize there's these strange wispy threads, shimmering colors. You can barely see them. That's why you didn't notice them right away in your shock. But as you move, these threads are emanating from your arms, from your legs, all the way reaching up and disappearing into the sky.
does everybody else see this, and I will try to sort of indicate, realizing this might be a futile question given the state we're in, but
You all see them now that she's drawn attention to them, and then you realize you have them too. These strange multicolored threads.
Nope. And Hannah is just going to sit down where she's standing. She is just Koofy, her A-line dress is going to go around her as she just plops straight to the deck. Nope. And she's just going to dig for a snack in her bag. And she's going to sit on the deck here. She's not moving. She's not looking at the strings as best she can. She's just, yeah, sure. And grabbing a bag of chips from her bag or something to stuff her face. Nope.
Mike goes over to her and puts his like leather jacket around her shoulders and then looks up at Poppy and is like, please just tell us, is this a practical joke of some kind? Do you know anything?
Darling, I am neither practical nor a joke. I have no idea what is happening. And she stares up at the moons again, and she looks down at the threads coming out of her body. And how would anyone even do any of this? The water's real. The boat's real. This isn't some Hollywood set painting.
Janice is making a brain dump of everything she knows about hallucinogenics, anything of the sort. Sits down next to Hannah and starts going through her first aid kit she's got with her, trying to see if there's anything she has that might help to counteract whatever this is that she doesn't know what it is. Also realizing she can't necessarily trust that she can read the labels on anything in the kit to begin with.
Yeah, now that you're convinced you're tripping, things have gotten a little bit visually hazy, kind of in a placebo effect style where you think you know what's going on, so the world has kind of adapted in your vision, and you're trying to read what's on your first aid kit that you always keep with you no matter where you go, and just nope. You're tripping. You be tripping.
I wanna look at my watch. This is the one like hyper masculine thing that I'm still wearing, is this big, chunky, and very nice men's watch. I want to see if it tells me the time.
It stopped at 1 a.m.
Thanks, I hate it. I'm going to continue
welcome.
looking for the boat engine. Like,
Okay.
I'm going to look for an engine, a row, like an oar, anything, so we can just start moving. Like,
So is this more like a fishing, like a civilian might buy a fishing boat to go fishing on a lake kind of a vibe? Or is it like a schooner? Like, is this multiple masts, or is this like a little motorboat of some sort? Like, what's the energy
It's kind
here?
of it's kind of in between.
Okay.
So there's no masts or anything, just that hutch in the middle of it, but slightly bigger than a fishing boat, not big enough to be a large crew.
Okay.
Yeah. So Thea, you're going to the hutch, and it's weird because it looks pretty average height for a person, and then it suddenly looks really small, like it's super far away, and then all of a sudden it will loom really close to you, and it's got these weird angles to it that make your head hurt to look at it, but you just kind of focus on, I need to figure out what's going on, I need to know what's happening, and you make your way there finally. It feels like it takes forever, but you get there. And it's open on the back, so it's just got these 3 walls and then a roof on top of it. You go around to the back, and you see inside there's some kind of engine, you think, and a steering wheel apparatus of some kind, but it looks like it's meant to be operated with more than 2 hands. And there's these 4 long poles of this orangish, brownish, you can't really make out the color, twisting kind of wood stretched out along the side. And there's what looks like some kind of map, maybe, on a small table. And you can see out through the front of this hutch. You can see the others sitting or kneeling in the front. They look very far away, and then they look kind of closer. And every time you look out, it makes your head hurt.
I'm starting to feel that like prickle of the headache or the migraine coming on every time I try to look at my companions. So I'm gonna pull out I have one of those like tiny little pocket flashlights that tucks into my big flowy blouse. I'm gonna pull it out, and I just want to click that on and try to look at the map to start with.
Okay. You look at the map. There's what looks like it could be shoreline sketched out on some of it. Maybe it matches the shoreline you saw out in front of the boat when you were out there, but it's hard to tell. And there's no compass or anything drawn in the corner, none of that. There's just weird formations, and the problem is you don't know exactly where you are on this map because the stars and the moons and everything are so unfamiliar. It's really hard to chart a location, but it does reinforce in your mind you are somewhere, you have no idea where the fuck where.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't necessarily look like anything familiar. It just solidifies that this is somewhere else. Cool. Is anything labeled? I know there's no compass. Like, is there any like names of a city or a landing or like little arrows that would indicate, you know, like somebody was circling where the treasure was, sort of anything?
There are what you think would be labels, maybe names of things, but they're written in strange kind of symbols. It's not a language you've ever seen before.
Cool.
But if you want to try and get the engine working, you can try and have a poke around at it. It's very unfamiliar to you, but you can try. Otherwise, there's the 4 poles over there. You think you might be able to use them to get the boat moving in the direction of land?
I'm gonna start by poking around the engine a little bit. That's like the one thing that Thea is confident in is her ability to repair machines. So,
okay. Because it's an unfamiliar machine in an unfamiliar world, I'm going to require a hard success.
Sure.
But you have plenty of luck, so, you know.
Well, I rolled a 70 on a 70 for mechanical repair.
Okay. So not quite.
No.
Do you want to push the roll? Or just leave it as it is?
It feels really early to be pushing something, so I'm going to say no. At best point, I poked around. I have determined that this is beyond where I'm at, and I will just kind of call out to the others. Hey, everybody. There's some sort of poles in here if we want to try to steer to shore, but I'm going to need some help.
Okay.
Can
Brush
I-
myself off? Sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say, can I look out before we head to Thea? I want to see if I can see anything like beyond the boat, like.
Yeah, so you do see shoreline along the horizon. It's a little bit far away, but you think maybe if you can get the boat moving, you can go in that direction. It is land of some kind. You're not just in the middle of ocean with nowhere to go. So that maybe that's a little bit comforting to you.
Yeah.
There's something there.
All right, let's go. I'll like offer a hand down to Janice and Hannah and see if I can help lift them up, and then.
We got this. Thank you. She'll take the hand and shake off the bad vibes than the crumbs of the chips that she was eating. We've got this. We can do this.
Go away, bad vibes.
Janice is figuring these have to be the like light poles down the street, but if her friends are moving somewhere, she should stay with them so she can keep an eye on them and make sure they're all safe, because she's the responsible adult here. Yep.
So you all move with Poppy, who is still mincing carefully in her stilettos so that she doesn't step on anything or trip, but she's not taking her shoes off. That would be unladylike, and she's wearing stockings anyway. So she moves with you down towards the hutch, and you see these poles that Thea's pointing at. You've got that weird engine there, but if Thea couldn't get it working, well, might be difficult for any of you, considering you're you don't work on boats. So you can try if you'd like to, but otherwise you have a method of movement that has been pointed out to you.
Trying to see if I can even offer Thea some help, but I don't think that. I think for Mike, if Thea can't get it going, then he's probably not got a chance.
Yeah.
So I guess let's get this baby moving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any relevant skills for the engine, but I would like to see if I can just sort of spot something they haven't seen yet. Could I spot hidden and see if there's just buttons or anything weird around? Because maybe there's just a button that they didn't notice. It's fine. And yes, I would just push a button if I found one.
You can give me a spot hidden roll.
No. 61 over 50.
Okay.
Oh.
You look around. Your head is still a little fuzzy, and you're still kind of in the nope. So you don't see anything that looks like it could be useful here. You also don't really know how engine rooms work, so it's a little difficult to figure things out.
If Thea points out that the engine seems to require more than two hands to operate, even in my addled state, I'm good at biology. I'm good at anatomy. Would I be able to get a general sense of whether that means takes more than one person or takes more than two arms?
Mm-hmm. Give me a biology or an anatomy roll. Normally I wouldn't make you roll for this, but because you are in an addled state at the moment.
I'm going to be rolling so well later.
Get about now.
86 over 55. I have no clue. What's an arm?
You're just so high right now.
You're convinced that you're high, so your body is acting as if you're high. So you can't quite figure it out. Your brain is trying to tell you, one half of your brain is telling you one thing, one half of your brain is telling you the other thing. Yep. But it's not real anyway, so why does it matter? All right, what do you do?
Thea, how do you suppose we're going to get this thing moving?
I looked at the engine and I can't quite figure it out. Maybe if we get somewhere with better lighting, I might be able to. Parts of it look normal and parts of it don't, and I just don't know what to do with that. But we've got these poles, and I think with all of us working together, we might be able to sort of, if the water isn't too deep, it looks like these are for sort of skiffing along shallower areas. So we might be able to get to, I think that's shoreline. Is anybody else? I feel like I'm having a visual migraine or something. Like everything's too close and too far at the same time, and so my depth perception's kind of messed up. I didn't think I drank that much, and now I'm wondering if Mickey poured me strong. But if we can just sort of, I don't think it's a good idea to stay in one place. It feels wrong right now.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. You're so smart. You said light. She'll grab her pocket flashlight out of her big bag also. Does just an extra flashlight's worth of light help at all with seeing what you're doing?
I think I'm needing daylight and maybe tools or something. I don't know. I would like to be. Of all of us, I think I am the most acclimated to being on the water, and I would like to be not on the water. So I think maybe we need to just try to get somewhere else for now.
Yeah.
Whatever we're on, I don't think it's water.
What are you? Are you on something,
Um,
Jan? You've been acting a little weird. I thought you had beer.
I thought so too, but she starts going into a medical explanation of hallucination, dissociation, those kinds of responses.
While that happens, Thea will hand a pole to Michael, grab a pole for themselves, kind of get the other two in place for whichever of the other three are going to try to
Yeah, I'll help.
assist. Yeah.
Okay, so you start moving the boat. I'm not going to make you roll anything. There's no time pressure or anything. You just start moving. Poppy is acting as management and overseeing the movement of the boat. And she rubs her temples occasionally. She looks off into the distance. You know, that feeling, Thea, of the things being far away and then being close. You recognize that. But the shoreline does start coming more into view. You're getting a bit tired as you go because it is taking some time, but you're getting closer to land. The water gets a little bit choppier the closer you get, but you're within distance finally as the land comes into view. You can't quite make out, you think you see some trees or something there and maybe some hills. It's an unfamiliar shoreline to you, but you see something. You can all give me a spot hidden roll.
That is a 98 over 55.
Okay, it's not a fumble, but still.
Yes.
19 under 50.
Nice.
And 21 under 55.
90 over 45.
Okay. And for Poppy, okay. 69. Nice.
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 Which is a failure for Poppy. But the two of you who passed, which is Janice and Hannah, you're at the front of the boat, one on the left, one on the right, and you're able to see the water begins to ripple. Something is moving rapidly in your direction, and I mean rapidly. It is potentially going to collide with you very, very fast.
Hey, you wonderful, talented creatures, I bet we could do this even faster. I bet we could do this so much faster if we just tried right now. Why don't we try that right now, actually?
What's going on, Han?
There's something at... What angle is this coming at us from?
It's coming from in front of you to the right.
There's something at our 2 o'clock, rapidly approaching, and I would like to just move out of its way.
What?
She'll point at it now, but it's just over there. Do you see the water moving? Somebody else sees this, right?
Janice sees it for sure. And then now that the rest of you have had your attention drawn to it, you can see something massive moving quickly towards you. And all of a sudden, these massive tendrils of this kind of blackish, purplish sheen come rising out of the water and lashing out towards you. And you see the cap of a massive jellyfish rising up out of the water. And this thing must be 50 feet across. It is humongous. And you are all going to make me sanity rolls as these tendrils start wrapping around the boat.
That is a 26.
Okay, so you just lose one. Okay, Janice
54
failed.
over 43.
Okay, you're going to lose 2 points of sanity.
79 over 49.
Okay, Thea, you lose 3. Poppy is going to lose 2 points of sanity because she did not pass her sand roll.
And for the record, this early into the scenario, I am 1 point away from indefinite.
Woo!
Yay!
Hannah, did you give me a...
8?
Oh, okay. You got an extreme. Okay, so you just lose 1. As you see these tendrils, some of them start wrapping around the boat and others come lashing out towards you. I'm going to need you all to make me hard dexterity rolls. Poppy's fine. She just dodges out of the way somehow on her stilettos.
That is a fail, a 93 over 70.
67 under 70.
Okay.
Appropriately enough, I rolled a 69. My dex is 70. Those just a
Nice.
regular.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
16 on a 40. So close.
Okay. So that is a hard success for you, I believe, Thea. So Thea and Poppy, you see these tendrils writhing through the air towards you, and you manage to dodge out of the way. The other 3 of you, you feel these tendrils wrapping around your body, pinning your arms to your sides. And you suddenly feel despair. Hopeless. What's the point? Can't go on. Can't do this anymore. And you're going to make me a POW roll.
I got a 92 over 47.
Good Lord.
You know what I said? Like, remember? I
Mhm.
roll either really well or really, really badly.
Okay, Hannah.
I got a 12. That is my 5th exactly.
Okay.
59 over 50. Would it be helpful to spend luck to at least get the regular?
It's up to you if you want to spend the luck.
Yeah, I have enough problems already. So
You two have enough problems.
Yep.
All right. So, Mike, like the other
Yes.
2 of you, you're able to kind of like hold on to yourselves. You shake off this feeling. But you're going to lose 5 points of POW permanent
Ouch. Okay.
as you feel while you're being wrapped in this tendril, this overwhelming despair and shame. So, Thea, you see 3 of your companions being wrapped up in these tendrils and being dragged towards the side of the boat. What would you like to do about this?
Crying is a free action.
Crying is a free action.
How these poles that we have that we're steering with, I'm picturing like skiffing poles or like Venetian boating poles. Do they have any sort of like pointiness to the end of them, or are they just kind of big rounded?
They're rounded, but you think maybe if you hit the tendrils enough, you can make enough of an impact that they might release.
That's kind of what I'm going for. I am not dexterous, but I am quite strong.
Okay.
All
All right.
So I'm wondering
So
if I can just
give me a
whack this thing.
Yeah. With the approach you're taking, I'll give you a strength roll. Poppy rips off one of her stilettos and starts whacking at one of the tendrils, the one that's holding Hannah. She just starts whacking at this tendril with her stiletto. She does have points in fighting brawl stiletto. So
Beautiful. I love her.
and she succeeds. So Hannah, you are suddenly dropped. You're not going to take any damage from it. You bruise your knee a little bit as you fall, but the tendril releases out of probably surprise, and you catch your breath as these feelings of despair begin to ebb away. You were fighting them, you fought them off, and now you feel yourself again. Thea, how'd you do?
I got a 20 under my 80, so a hard success.
Ooh. Were you attacking the one going, holding on to Michael or onto Janice?
Probably Janice.
Okay. So I'm not going to have you roll damage. You got a hard success. You hit it so hard that it sort of it's surprised and lets go. Janice, you fall to the deck. Again, you bruise your knee a bit, but you're not going to take any damage or anything from that. But you're gasping for breath as those feelings of panic and despair suddenly ebb away from you. And Poppy is going to go after the one with holding on to Michael now.
I will also
After a
spin
quick-
around and prep. Yeah.
Quick pat on the shoulder to Hannah. Like, you're all right, dear. You're all right. And you are not. She's going to attack that one. She got a regular success, not a hard this time. Do you want to attack in tandem, Thea?
Yes, please.
Okay, so make a strength roll.
12 under 80.
Nice.
That is my extreme.
So between the two of you, you absolutely just clobber this thing, and Poppy's stiletto actually rips into the tendril, and this oozing black ichor emerges from it. It's kind of terrible, but it lets go of Michael. Michael, you fall, you land on your ass. You're still feeling the effects of that despair. You're not completely hopeless now that you've been released, but you do feel deep in your soul this kind of penetrating, what's the point? Can I keep going? Should I keep going? It burrows deep into your soul, and it just sort of sits there. And the tendrils raise up for another attack, and Poppy's looking at all of you and says, I think we should go on the other side and maybe try to swim it. Unless you think we can ram the boat into the shoreline before this thing attacks us again.
I think I'm faster swimming at this point.
And she rips off her other stiletto and pats her hair mournfully. And so, all right. And she dives into the water on the other side of the boat, away from the tendrils.
I'm going to start waving everybody else to jump over. I'm going to be last over.
Mm-hmm.
Mike hesitates for a moment, I think. I think he's
Mhm.
like, maybe it would be easier to just give up, but with everyone kind of like pushing him to go on, he gets up shakily and then dives off the edge of the boat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Janice?
Diving in, swimming, and apparently wrestling with a catfish.
Wrestling with a catfish. All right. I'm going to need swim rolls from all of you. You're going to make it, but we'll see what state you're in when you make it as you're swimming away. The tendrils are snaking after you as you go, these massive tendrils.
37 under 50.
I fail with an 80.
Okay.
I messaged you, Rina, but I'll just ask out loud. If I don't have a swim skill listed at all,
Mhm.
do I not know how to swim, or do I just really, really suck?
You have
Like,
base.
how does this work?
You have base in it. Base in swim is 20%.
I got an extreme success.
Nice.
Can I leverage that extreme success to notice that Mike is struggling and try to help him?
Yeah,
Which is why
you
I
can
wanted to be in the
absolutely.
back anyway.
Yeah, I will allow you to help Mike out and help him get to shore with an extreme. So, Mike, you're being assisted. Poppy's not doing so great.
I got a 16 under the 20%.
Wow,
Lucky,
that is
lucky.
amazing. So Poppy's the only one who really struggles because Thea's helping Mike. So Mike, you're not going to get the effects of this. You stumble onto the shore, and Poppy she's weighed down by that heavy dress, by the wig and everything. She emerges and just kind of collapses, breathing heavily. She's going to take a penalty to any physical-based rolls for the next few hours. as a result of getting too much water in her lungs, being too weighed down as she was swimming. It took her extra effort, but the rest of you avoid that penalty. You stagger onto this strange, rocky, sandy shore, and you see the tendrils of this jellyfish wrap around the boat, break it in half, and drag it under the water. There's nothing left but a ripple on the surface. And shall we take a short break there?
Welcome back to this. I am so sorry. Welcome back to Miskatonic Playhouse, where we are midway through Friends of Dorothy.
So, you've seen your boat be dragged underwater by the giant jellyfish, and you are on this unfamiliar shoreline. You see sand under your feet, rocks surrounding you. There's trees and strange plants beyond this little outcropping of beach. Everything is a strange color. At first, when you look at them, you think you recognize them. There's blues and greens and purples, yellows, reds, all these different shades. But the more you look at them, the less like you understand what they actually are as colors. It is very uncomfortable for your brain, but it's also really pretty at the same time. Like, the shades are gorgeous. It's just, it bothers you that you can't name them and that they look familiar and then they're not familiar. But you're on the shore at last. On dry land.
I cough up half the ocean, and then I turn to Thea and I'm like, "Thank you."
Hey, it's okay. We're gonna figure something out.
Yeah, sure. Give me just 2 minutes.
Yeah, nope. You sit here. I'm also gonna go check on Poppy. Make
Mhm.
sure.
Poppy is coughing and spluttering. Her dress is sticking to her. She's reached down and she's rolling off her stockings, sadly, and just looks at them and says, "Those were expensive." Stretches them out on a rock. I'm quite fine, darling. Thank you. And coughs and splutters up some more water. Says, never swallow. And she chokes a little bit and says, I'm fine. Where the hell are we? Where are we going?
Weirdly, I think Janice is actually feeling a little bit better because the water was undeniably real. Things still look weird. We'll deal with that later, but if the water was real, it gives her some grounding. Think she's going to check on Mike, see if he's okay, see if he needs any help getting out over the near drowning.
Yeah, I think you're starting to understand now. I think you're starting to understand now, Janice, that this isn't the trip you thought it was. Like, it's hard to write off the thing that just happened, so you're coming back more into a sense of unreality.
Yeah.
That is different from the drugged unreality you thought you were in. So I think you're coming out of that now, with the swim and the jellyfish and all the other things you've been feeling. But you check on Mike. He seems to be doing okay. Thea got him out of the water, and he's breathing a bit heavily, and all of you are soaking wet. But you're here. What would you like to do?
I mean, Hannah's emptying out her purse to make sure nothing's destroyed, dumping out any excess water, etc. But once I've cleared any of that out, any detritus from the water, snacks that aren't ruined will hastily go back in. She'll offer Poppy any accessories that need to be salvaged later. Can just go in the bag for now. It's okay. We don't have to leave anything behind. No accessories left behind, Poppy. It's fine. Whatever needs to go.
You're a doll. She takes off her gloves and puts them with her stockings in your bag. And She leaves her wig on. It's sodden and it's barely clinging to her head. She must have used some really strong wig glue on this because it is still attached somehow. But she's patting it and trying to wring it out a little bit. There. Higher the hair, closer to God. Right. Shall we move? Or do we want to sit here and look out for jellyfish?
Where? Okay, so now that we're on the shore
Mhm.
and snacks have been secured,
Yes.
what's the terrain like beyond the shore? Because we couldn't really see that from the boat before.
Right. So there's some hills off in the distance. There's trees, not quite a forest, but there's plenty of trees beyond once you get past the rocky sandy beach. You see what looks like it could be a path moving off into the distance. There's definitely something cleared away moving between the trees and the fields.
Path means people or something that needed to follow a trail. So maybe we try the path.
Paths usually go somewhere in my experience. Might as well try it.
Yeah, but is
I-
that something good?
Well, we know what's in the water.
True.
Okay. So you head off towards this path. You do come across it, like you're still dripping wet. The sun is starting to come up slowly over the horizon, or rather, suns. You soon realize there's two of them making an appearance. So you have hopes that you'll dry off soon. And there's going to be more light now that they are rising. But the path that you reach is interesting in how different it is. It is a grayish color. It is in stark contrast to the beauty of the vibrant colors around it. But it is undeniably gray and dusty. And your brains sort of latch onto that.
All right. So let's just keep moving.
Off we go. And she gingerly steps onto the path. So you start moving, and the suns rise. They're not as warm as you hoped they would be, but they are giving you light. Just that alone is encouraging. You don't have just the dim light off the three moons anymore. You can see things pretty clearly as the suns rise. And there's all these trees and plants and things around you. It's calm in a comforting sort of way. There's no loud noises, no overwhelming sensory input. So you hear some insects making little chirping noises somewhere in the grass. You hear the occasional squawk from something that might be a bird. But it's peaceful. It's quiet. It soothes you a little bit, even with all the strange colors. You see this wild vegetation growing around the path, curling up through the rocks and waving in the non-existent breeze. There's flowers of strange shapes and colors. And you can hear just those comforting sounds calm you, even in their unfamiliarity, as you move down the path.
Well,
Do,
we're going.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, we're going along. Could I use either like my botany or like my forest survival skills to sort of keep an eye out for useful plants?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me whichever one you'd like to use there.
I think botany makes the most sense here.
Yeah. Valid.
$17 under 40, so that's under half. So
Nice. You got a hard success. Your dice are really liking you tonight. So
I'm sure that when I'm actually in danger later, it's all going to be Rat. I'm getting all the good rolls out now.
Yep.
Same.
Joe's getting all the bad ones out of the way, so you'll balance out. It's fine.
Yeah, so good.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
So you'll stop and look at some of these plants, Hannah, because you're curious, right? You love flora and fauna, and you have a little garden that you tend to, and so your natural curiosity makes you stop and sort of look at some of these plants. You find some things that look very similar to a type of mushroom that you know is edible. So it's a potential something you could go for. You find these interesting fruits that look like apples growing from one of the trees hanging over the path. You see insects have eaten some of them, so maybe they're not poisonous. Who knows? But you think you found some things that if you need to, you can possibly eat. And you don't think any of the plants that are growing along the path are going to be dangerous.
Okay. I will just harvest some of what seems useful, like maybe one of the mushrooms to see what the vibe of that is later. Some of the apples, any useful plants along the way that are either good for snacking or medicinal purposes later. Not because we don't have any food, but just in case we need more of something, especially since a little was lost to the water.
Yeah.
So.
Janice recoils from the mushrooms.
Understandable.
We've had quite enough mind altering for one outing.
Or have they? So you keep going. Poppy makes occasional comments, talking a little bit about life at the bar and spreading a little bit of tea about what the other drag majesties have been up to, or things that she's observed from some of the patrons, little details, keeping people's spirits up, keeping people moving and talking. She's got this very cheerful kind of cadence to her speech. You don't know if she's actually feeling it or not, but it lifts your spirits some just listening to this normality, the way she's talking. And as she's in the middle of one of her discussions about Mary Poppin, who's one of the other drag queens, you all feel a bit of a prickle on the back of your necks. That strange feeling as if you were being watched. And I'd like a spot hidden roll from all of you.
That is a 30 under 55.
And an 85
Okay.
over 55.
And 72 over 50.
Okay. So Michael and Poppy both, you kind of turn around. Do you Mike turn to see if something's watching?
Yeah, I think Mike
Mhm.
kind of freezes in his footsteps and sort of takes a glance behind him.
Mm-hmm. You are certain something is not watching you. It's stalking you. That's the impression you get. And you turn and look, and you get this kind of glint of something painfully bright in the corner of your eye. Sharp and painful. It's like this bright light, and every time you turn your head, that light is always still there. Even when you're looking ahead, off to the side, that light always in the corner of your vision. And I need a power roll from you.
That is a hard success.
Okay. Poppy looks a bit confused. The rest of you see her just kind of tapping at at her nose around the corner of her eye and shaking her head. But Michael, you get a cacophony of voices inside your head. They're all one voice, but it's a multitude of them. And you hear, "You do not belong. You are unclean. You will be purified. You will be cleansed. You do not belong."
I reach back, and whoever is closest behind me, I'm like slapping them wildly on the shoulder and like pointing out into the distance to where the speck is. Uh, uh, um, uh, uh, does anyone hear that?
You don't.
I'll look around to see if there's something that Michael's noticing that, like, I can spot now that he's pointing stuff out. Like, I'll sort of do a 360 and survey our surroundings a little bit closer.
You don't see anything. You've still got that feeling of being watched, but you can't see anything.
No. Michael, honey, I don't hear anything. I'm sorry.
What are you hearing, Mike?
Okay. I'm not crazy, but there's voices. We should move quicker. There's something following us. And it's saying we're unclean and it's going to cleanse us.
Okay. Yeah, we can move quicker. She's gonna grab a Twinkie from her bag and hand it to him, assuming that his blood sugar is low. Yeah, we'll move quicker.
He takes it. Nervously eats it. No, we normally I wouldn't, like, normally I'd think maybe it's drugs, but we've just seen a jellyfish larger than a boat, so let's move quicker.
You move faster. And Michael, that glimmer is always in the corner of your eye. No matter how fast you move, no matter where you turn your head, you've got that fiercely, painfully, blinding bright light. It's you can't see anything further, just that glimpse in the corner, but it's painful, but you can kind of look past it. You see Poppy just kind of putting a hand up to the side of her face as if to block something out, and you move forward. You feel like something is following you, but you don't feel like it's getting closer necessarily as you move more quickly. It's just there's something there. And you make your way through a copse of trees. You see strange insects now. You see them moving through and around these plants. You have to pause at one point for a herd of brightly colored 8-legged horses to run across the path in front of you. You see these birds circling in the sky. If it weren't for the fear that you're feeling, it would be quite beautiful, really. And then up ahead of you in the distance, you see the first sign of real civilization that you've seen since you left the boat. What looks like a town. There's buildings of unfamiliar shapes and a variety of sizes. They're all coated with a colorful paint that is now peeling, revealing dull gray stone beneath it. It is quiet and it is empty, and the path runs straight through it. But it's the first sign of beings that you've seen since you got here.
Janice has training in medicine, biology, natural world. Obviously, these are not from our world, but is there anything interesting that she might be able to, that they might be able to glean?
What are you trying to pick up on specifically?
Do I have any kind of mental categories to put 8-legged horses or birds into? Is there anything that seems familiar? Seems, I don't know.
So you don't need to roll for any of this. Like,
Okay.
you can clearly identify these things as horses. It's just they're these weird colors and they have 8 legs. And you can identify things as birds. So it's this kind of uncanny feeling where they're just close enough to stuff that you recognize, things that you've been around or that you can identify, but things are off.
Okay.
Just enough with the colors or the number of limbs or the number of beaks that one of the birds has. It's just odd enough that it kind of causes a little shift in your brain.
As the suns have been coming up and we've been moving on this path and we're now approaching what looks like it is or was once civilization of some form, has there been any change in those like threads that seem to be coming off of us?
Threads are still there.
Okay.
Shimmering. Like you have to kind of focus on them to see them or tilt your head in just the right angle. It's not like you're looking through a tangle of threads as you move, but every time you think about them, you can see them.
And they don't, do they seem to be like drawing us in a direction or pulling behind us? They're just there.
They're just
okay.
stretching up into the sky.
Cool. Great.
Do you head for the town? Skirt around it?
I don't think that whatever is in there is going to necessarily be human in any way, shape, or form, given the fact that we've just seen horses with multiple legs walk across our path. So the upside is maybe whatever's in there is sentient and can tell us what's going on. The downside is maybe whatever's in there is sentient and doesn't like us. Do we want to take that risk?
I think that there's something to be said for what your logic. Absolutely. But I also think there's something to be said for maybe a little bit of reconnaissance just in case. There's something familiar looking that may be able to help us or tell us where we are or anything. So maybe this isn't a case of completely avoiding it, but some reconnaissance.
Moving in stealthily.
Kind of skirt around it, peer in, see what kind of things live there. Little bit of stealth. If everything looks too foreign, we just go the other way instead of skirting around it.
Mike kind of tilts his head away from the light again. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, let's move in closer.
You move in closer and you realize it's eerily quiet. You don't hear anybody talking. You don't hear sounds of movement. You don't hear anything coming from this little town. It's just empty.
Are there, as best we can tell with our limited information and kind of keeping to the edges of things, does this seem like it is fully just like residential? Is there any evidence of like, a store, a post office? Are there vehicles or some sort of, bicycles, some transit of some sort that is like abandoned in the streets? Just.
So you see these broken down kind of things that might be vehicles. They don't look like cars or anything that you're super familiar with, but they're just kind of sitting in the street. And it's that strange lettering that you saw on what you thought was the map back on the boat above the doors of some of the buildings. The paint is peeling, and it looks like it hasn't been touched up in a long time, but you could be an office or a store or something of that nature. As you're kind of moving around the edges and looking in to try and see things, there is a loud peal of thunder, and lightning crashes across the sky, and you are suddenly pelted with heavy rain. It feels like stones hitting your skin.
I guess we've got to get out of this. So can we see any like good places to hide?
There's a bunch of buildings in front of you, these stone buildings. A couple of them have the doors partially open. They don't appear to be locked, but there's any number of buildings you could take your choice.
I guess I'll rush to the closest open one because being hit by stones doesn't sound exceedingly pleasing to me.
It is rather painful.
If any of these buildings with like open doors look like they have those remnants of some writing above them, I think I want to try to direct us toward those.
Okay.
Because that process is more like, running into like the grocery store to avoid the heat of the storm versus somebody's house.
Right.
So
you can run into one of those. There's peeling paint all over the front of this. The colors are slowly eroding away, but you can run into one of those. We'll say it's the one Michael identifies with the door being partially open, and you run in, the rain pelting down behind you, and whatever this is a little odd. Maybe it's a bookstore or library, because there are scrolls and books and shelves everywhere. There's a spiral iron-looking staircase that goes up to a second floor, and these massive, tall bookcases just stuffed with tomes and scrolls. There's some spread out on a table. There's some on the floor. There's all of this written material everywhere. They're carelessly scattered around.
Thinking back about the engine that needed more than two hands to operate, does the furniture look right for humans, or is it designed around some other kind of form?
So some of it you think you could sit in fairly comfortably. I mean, a couch is a couch. It's got a tall kind of back to it, but there's chairs that have these weird kind of spirals to them on the backs. And massively wide armrests.
Not sure what to do with that, but I do point it out to the others.
I freaking hate this.
You're very observant, Janice.
Well, comes from watching out for symptoms.
Yeah.
Seeing when something doesn't feel quite right.
But it is quiet in here. You don't hear any sounds of movement or anything making any noise other than the five of you. Poppy has plopped herself down on the couch and is breathing a sigh of relief as she puts her feet up.
How tired are we at this point? Is it been like a long day in terms of like bodily?
It's hard to tell time because you can't track like the movement of the suns. You don't know if they move at the same or if the planet rotates around these suns, or if you don't know anything about the how the movement of the suns and the earth work in this place, whatever it is. But it's probably been a couple of hours since you landed on the shore. Just you weren't moving too fast until you saw the light, Mike. And then you picked up the pace a little bit, but you're not exhausted. You're not gonna take any exhaustion penalties or anything here.
Is the light still present in here?
Yes, you still have that light in the corner of your eye.
This is, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was literally going to say I'm going to start looking for something that I could use as potentially as a weapon. This is really freaking me out.
If this is feeling essentially like a public library kind of place, I'm going to look around, see if I can find the equivalent of a children's section. Maybe I can find like a picture book that would show me what these people look like.
Okay. So give me a spot hidden.
Okay, that is a 46 under 55.
Mm-hmm. So as you're looking around at these books and scrolls, you get more the feeling of maybe a research library than a full-on family-style library here. There's texts with mathematical equations. At least you think they're mathematical equations. You actually see some numbers that you recognize in some of these, and these strange symbols. But with that spot hidden success, you find a scroll that's been written on, and these chemical formulas or mathematical equations, and they're written. Even if you don't know what the symbols mean, you recognize them as being symbols you've seen before. And then you find scribbled in the margins, there's various phrases in an older form of English. You find lines about the beings what dwell in this realm spelled with an E at the end, the melding, render me safe from all harm. Notes of that sort written in this particular scroll in older English. Not old English, older. There's a difference.
Thank you for specifying. I once upon a time I was a medievalist, so
yes, it is not old English.
Right.
It's more
Ye
Shakespearean
olde.
English. Mm-hmm. Ye old language. So you find that, and it sticks out because it's English. You can read it. You can't read the formulas, but you can read those notes in the margins.
and did I hear correctly the phrase the melding with the
melding.
Okay.
Melding, yep.
That doesn't sound encouraging.
Are you going upstairs at all, or are you just looking at the books down here?
I'll go
I
upstairs.
think I've explored the whole place looking for
Okay.
to see if there was a children's section squirreled away somewhere.
Okay. Okay, so Thea and Janice have gone up that curling iron staircase. Mike and Hannah, have you done any exploring? You sitting with Poppy? I know Mike said he was looking for something to use as a weapon.
Yeah, he's probably getting a little I don't know. I think this is kind of triggering for Mike because he's always paranoid about people watching, things watching. This is the worst nightmare for him, and he is getting a little bit upset about things watching him. So anything he could, and he doesn't have anything to defend himself with, so he wants to try and get something.
Okay, and Hannah?
My dear buddy Mike here is falling apart at the seams just a little bit, so I'm gonna keep an eye on him and go with him and encourage him on finding the cool things. Yay!
Yay!
All right. So Thea and Janice, as you go upstairs, you find what looks like scientific equipment reinforcing for you, Janice, this might be some kind of research library. There's tubes and beakers and what looks like they could be burners of some kind. Like they all have strange angles to them, and some of them twist in weird ways. But they're, again, just familiar enough you can figure out what they are without knowing exactly what they do. You could make me an occult roll, either of you or both of you, if you'd like to try and figure out a little bit of what this equipment does.
Wow. I was about to say there's no point. I only have 20, but roll the 13.
Nice.
Yeah, I got nothing.
In fact, at that
Okay.
point, I think I'm going to go
So-
ahead and spend 3 luck and make it a hard, if that's hopefully
Yeah.
going to help a little.
So, Janice, you've done a little bit of reading here and there. You've read some texts and things that you find interesting. You're interested in a lot of different things, and you think you understand that this equipment is set up for something alchemical in nature. The process of changing one thing to another thing, changing the state of something to a different state. You're not quite sure what it is. You don't see, often it would be transforming things into gold, right? But you don't see anything like that here. But with that role, they were in the process of changing the essence of something here. And you almost kind of trip over something as you're moving to look at these beakers and lab equipment. And you see there's robes on the floor, these robes and bodysuits and these shimmering multicolors. And there's things that look like plague doctors' masks with the beaks just scattered across the floor. It's almost as if whoever was wearing these things just sort of disappeared.
Have you? I know you read a lot of books, Jan. Does this seem like? Is this anything? I mean, it's something, but is this anything?
Alchemy, like medieval stuff, but I don't know
Alchemy,
what they were trying to change into what.
Okay. I don't think I like that, especially now that this place is abandoned. That's given me some like Half Mile Island Chernobyl vibes that I'm not super into.
I mean, it looks to me like the way this outfit here is laid on the floor. It looks like somebody was in it and then they weren't.
Like the Rapture?
If you believe in that sort of thing, but
I just, my mom was real weird, told me a lot of stories as a kid.
Keeper, you mentioned that among other things, robes. Are we talking like culty ceremonial kind of robes, or are we talking
Like clothes. It's hard
Okay.
to tell if they're culty ceremonial, but because they're just robes.
Okay.
They don't have any weird symbols on them or anything like that. If that's what you're looking for, they're not soaked in blood or black.
But they're
ichor.
not
Okay.
like terry cloth bathrobes of comfiness.
They're not
They're like
bathrobes, no.
clothing.
They're like
Okay.
clothing. As you're exploring around up here, you hear a voice you know. And you hear, "Why can't you just be my son? What's wrong with you? I can't believe you."
I think Thea freezes in a very instinctive sort of way, realizing that she's in girl mode, and starts kind of slowly looking around to try to figure out like how is anybody here?
You're a disgrace. And you hear your father's voice in that cutting sort of tone that you imagined that he would speak to you in if he ever found out. It cuts across your soul. You think you can be a woman? You'll never be one. You're my son. Act like it.
Thea puts her hand over the watch and just kind of looks around, turns to Janice. Did you hear somebody else here?
I'm assuming
see
we
somebody
both
else
heard
here?
that?
No, just Thea.
Ah. Sorry, I've heard what?
Some ghosts from my past, I think. Who shouldn't be here. I guess none of us should be here, so I guess that doesn't really mean anything. And I think Thea starts to have a little bit of a panic attack.
You start to panic a little bit, and the voice gets louder and more insistent for a moment, and then it goes away. But you can still hear the echoes of it in your mind. This voice that you hoped you would never hear. You've been so careful. Downstairs, Michael, you've been able to break off a chair leg. This chair that has 5 legs on it, one in the middle. And you break off this chair leg, you think you heft it, you think you can do something with this, do some damage if you need to. But as you're holding this chair leg and feeling the heft of it, you hear in your head, you'll never be man enough. Did you really think joining the military was going to make you more of a man? You disgust me.
I sort of tighten my grip on the wooden leg and sort of hear it kind of creak just a little bit. And just sort of breathe in and breathe out and try to center myself. Not hearing things, you're not hearing things, you're not hearing things, you're not hearing things. It's okay.
You hear Poppy on the couch saying, "Shut up!" and tap the side of her head.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was being so loud.
Not you, darling. Not you. I'm sorry, not you. And she just mutters, "Be quiet," under her breath, gritting her teeth. And Hannah, as you're looking in concern at Michael and back at Poppy, you hear your mother's voice. You are such a disappointment. You are a disgrace to this family. You know that. I had such big dreams for you. You're never going to give me grandchildren. I thought I raised you right. How dare you?
Hannah is going to kind of step away from Michael a little bit and start sort of reciting to herself that everyone deserves a happy home, a full belly, and to be with someone they love. And that's just going to be like her little mantra to herself as she like tries not to cry in front of these people, because, you know, it's not like crying is a problem, but if I'm not making sure that they stay optimistic, who will?
You try to get yourself under control. You're repeating this mantra even as a tear just kind of slips out unbidden down your face. Janice, you go to try to help Thea. You recognize she's going through a panic attack at the moment. And as you put your hand on her shoulder, you hear, "You're a freak. Can't just pick one. Gotta be something else. Really? What makes you think you're all that?" Not good enough to be a boy, not good enough to be a girl, huh?
Do I recognize that voice?
It sounds like your father.
I think as I'm standing there, I'm fingering the tie pin that I'm wearing that came from him. There are so many things I always wanted to say. And now in this moment, none of them are coming.
I would like hard power rolls from everybody.
$98.
Ooh,
Okay, that's going to be a fumble.
Yeah. Oh, Michael.
33 under 60.
Okay,
35 under 50.
also 35 under 50.
anyone going to spend luck to pass?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Um,
Janice is going to pass.
Yeah, I'll spend the last few to get under half. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll spend
Okay.
pass.
So, Michael, you are dealing with this voice in your head, but you start to feel this kind of biting and jabbing, little pains poking away at you. And you all feel them, but Michael, you feel them particularly strong in your left arm. And you look down at that arm because it hurts. And it's fading out of view until you can't see it anymore. And you can still feel there's something there, but it's squishy, almost like a thin film over Jell-O. It's hard to move. And those colorful threads are gone, like they've been cut. And your arm is no longer visible. You've lost some of your essence. And because of that fumble, I'm not even going to ask for a sanity roll. You're just going to take the sand loss. As you take 6 points of sand.
Okay. I am
The rest-
currently at 41.
Okay. So make me an intelligence roll. The rest of you who are down there, so that would be Hannah. I think did you stay upstairs, Thea and Janice?
I
Yeah,
think
I
I'm
still
still,
upstairs.
don't think
Yeah.
I
we've
think I'm
come
still
back
having a
down there.
panic attack upstairs. So.
Yeah. So Hannah, you see that Mike's arm is gone. It's just gone. And you hear Poppy shriek. And you look back at her and you realize she's missing her right leg. You can't see it beneath the skirt. That shapely leg and ankle. Her leg is just gone. How'd you do on that int roll?
71 under 80.
Oof. Okay, so you're going to have a bout. I have made a custom bouts table for this scenario, so we're going to roll on that. Let's see. Ooh, okay.
Don't say
So-
that. Don't do that.
Mike,
Yes.
you develop autophobia. You are terrified of being alone. You can't stand the thought of not being in close proximity to or even in contact with someone else at all times. The thought of being alone overwhelms you and drives you almost to the brink. You can't bear it.
Okay. I think Michael seeing his arm disappear starts with like a huh, and then it kind of like builds to like a scream, and he sort of backs up into a corner and sort of is like glancing around desperately, and sort of like just sort of grasping at his arm, like trying to paw at it to see if it's still like, can I touch it, or does it just go straight through?
There's something there, but again, it's that kind of squishy feeling like you could push your way through it almost. Like the essence of your arm has been sapped away.
I just am like grasping at myself. I think that Mike is still hearing voices in his head. Maybe a little quieter now as it's like started to take a hold, but he is like beginning to like clutch at his head and just sort of rocks in place for a moment as that all kind of overwhelms him. But he definitely let out a booming scream at first as his arm dissipated.
Janice and Thea, you would hear that loud scream from downstairs.
Knowing that there's no way that between Poppy and Michael's screams, the others haven't heard, I'm just going to scramble to Michael's side. I'm not going to yell for them to come. They're either within earshot or they're not. The priority is sort of scrambling over to the corner with Michael, but not crowding him too close.
I think Michael, with his new bout of insanity, reaches out to grasp you and it's just like, it's gone. Hannah, why is it gone? Why is my arm gone? What?
Mike, hey. She'll take your hand with one hand. Hey, I don't know why. I don't know what happened to your arm. I don't know what happened to Poppy's leg. But we'll figure it out, okay? You're not alone here. We'll figure it out together. And I'll hesitantly, I'll reach out to touch where arm was. Do I feel the squishy too?
You do.
There's still something here. So maybe it's something about this place. Maybe when we're back home, it's fine. Okay? Maybe it's just some form of illusion or something like the strings before, right? Like maybe we're just seeing stuff like we're hearing stuff, okay? So just deep breaths, stay with me. Okay?
Yes. Don't let go. Don't let go. Don't let go. Don't let go. Please don't let go.
I won't.
And he tries to like breathe with Hannah for a moment.
Hannah's just going to do some square breathing with him and kind of occasionally look over her shoulder to see if the others mercifully come back.
Please.
I think that hearing the screams from downstairs might be enough to sort of snap Thea out of it a little bit, because one of the only things that Thea has always connected with in every part of her life is being very protective of the people she cares about. And so I think that between that and Janice's presence, there, I think that's enough to sort of like flip the switch a little bit and turn the focus to not what I am feeling, but what others are feeling. And I will look at Jan and be like, "Did you hear that? That was real, right?"
I think Janice is already moving toward the stairs. In her line of work, somebody's in
Fair.
distress, but they will stop and hold out a hand for yours. Stay with me. All right.
I'm right here.
They take a hand and we head downstairs.
You come downstairs, and as you do, you realize the rain outside has stopped. You can't hear it hitting the windows anymore, and the screaming has stopped. But you come to a full, complete stop yourselves when you see Poppy on the couch. Her leg is gone, and you look off to the side, and Hannah is being clutched at by Michael's holding on to her arm, and you see one of his arms is missing. It's just gone.
I think I rush over to check on them, make sure clearly there isn't blood spewing everywhere, so a limb hasn't been severed, but I was going to say make sure that they're physically okay. They're obviously not, but
No.
but make sure it is not a medical type of crisis first before trying to figure out what it is.
Oh, thank God you're here. I've got Michael, but I don't think Poppy should be alone right now. And I'll sort of gesture to my legs and then to Poppy like some.
Yeah.
I don't know how to deal with both at the same time. I don't know how to deal with one, but I definitely don't know how to help them both at the same time.
I'll
Yeah.
go to Poppy to help leave Janice the ability to bop between the two, since Janice is our medical professional.
Poppy is remarkably not freaking out the way Michael is. She passed her sand roll. Somehow. But she's clutching at where her leg used to be, and you can see she's still grabbing at something, but you can't see it, and her fingers seem to be making an indentation the way they're grasping, and that's kind of uncomfortable. And she looks up at you with this haunted expression and says, "I don't want to be here anymore."
Agreed. I think it's time to go. I think it's time to go, yeah?
She's just kind of lost that sort of sassy brassiness that she has, that she's been using to keep up your spirits. She just seems exhausted. Can we go, darling? Before I lose anything else. Before Michael loses another arm. Or worse.
Before the rest of us lose our cool? Yeah. Let's go. Do you want to try to stand up, or you want to just piggyback?
Oh. She tries to stand up. She can kind of stand, but she can barely put any weight on that squishy limb. So she's going to need some help walking the rest of the way.
Thea's going to turn around and offer to piggyback her. Strength is my biggest stat. I'm a big girl.
She'll take you up on that. It is very uncomfortable feeling where that limb was, like that kind of almost jello-like texture there. It's but Poppy's your friend, and you can deal with this. And you just hear an exhausted sort of sigh.
All right, team. Let's head out.
Michael looks up at Janice and Hannah and is just like, please, weird ask, but can someone please hold my other hand?
Your other hand?
The one that's not missing.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Okay.
I'll help Michael up when he's ready and then just keep holding his hand while we walk.
Yeah,
You
Janice is
find
going
a-
to keep a hand on Mike's other shoulder.
Mhm. You find a little bit of comfort in this close proximity, Mike, but you also feel that fear and that little bit of despair that's just sort of been resting in the deep hole of your soul, rearing its head just a little bit. As you all make your way out, you move down the path through the rest of the town. It's abandoned completely as far as you can tell. You find some more of those robes just laying in the path. Step around them and make your way out. You move through these beautiful vistas. Yes, Bunny.
Are the robes like gross, or are they mostly cleanish robes that are just around?
They're clean. They're a bit dusty, and who knows how long they've been there, but they're not like covered in blood or dirt.
Okay.
Some of them are damp.
I'll grab a less damp one and sort of shake the dust loose and shove it in my giant purse.
Excellent.
You never know when you'll need a disguise later.
It's true. So you make your way through these beautiful vistas, but you're feeling unsettled, and those voices are still ringing in your heads. You can all feel that sort of jabbing, tiny little jabs and pricks throughout your skin. The voices, all of it. It's hard to focus. You crest a hill, and you hear, "What's this? Visitors?" out of the ether. And then you hear a second voice, or maybe, is it a second voice? It seems to be answering the first one, but it sounds exactly the same. "Oh, how interesting. What strange parts you have, visitors. Where did you get them?" And you start to feel something cold running all over your faces, your arms, your head, back of your neck, as if you're being touched. How interesting. And Poppy is waving at the air, says, "Consent, consent. I do not consent."
Yeah, I think Thea is also like, whoa, 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 whoa. We can, hey, voices only. Voices only. I don't know you.
Okay. I think this calls for a sand roll. Voices out of the air and being touched by things you can't see.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's under your current, right?
Yeah.
I rolled a 51 over 41, but Mike is in such dire straits with his mind right now, so I think he might do the luck and just take it.
You can't spend luck on sand rolls.
Oh no, you can't, can you? Never mind,
Nope.
I fail then.
Okay.
Pass, but just barely. 35 under what is now 41.
Okay, that's a good thing for you, Janice.
Turns out using my yellow sign dice is working out okay, because it's 29 under 57.
Okay. Thea?
37 under 46.
All right, Michael,
Yes.
you lose 2 points of sand.
Cool. I am now at 39.
Okay. So on top of your phobia is you don't make sand rolls in bouts, but you developed a phobia, which is something that lasts. So you are going to Let's see. Oh boy. I'm wondering how this is going to work.
You both don't want to touch people and you want to touch people.
No, you've decided that you are the hero in this situation, Michael.
Oh boy, okay.
Yes, you need to be around people, but that's a good thing because how can you protect people if you're not around them anyway? Like you need to be with them. They keep you safe, but you are going to keep them safe. You are going to get everybody out of this whole situation.
Okay. I think with that, Michael kind of goes, all right, enough of this. Who are you? Where are you? Why are you talking on our heads? What's going on?
We are the Gemmen. You do not belong.
Too right, we don't belong. Help us get out of here.
Out. And where is out?
Home?
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Earth?
We're
There's a little
stationed at Fort Holloway.
There's whispering in the air. It's again, the voices sound so similar to each other. It's hard to tell who is saying what, but then you hear that sounds familiar. Earth. Yes. Interesting. And you want to go back there? Why?
Because there my arm doesn't disappear.
And you feel a slight prodding at that missing limb.
I slap away
Oh.
whatever it is.
You are melding. It will be fine. You will be safe.
I don't feel safe. What does melding mean?
We melded.
Melding with what?
The air. We do not feel pain. We do not feel shame. We do not feel despair. We are safe. Through the melding. You could be safe too. There are others who were not of us, who came before. They are safe now with us.
Do you remember who you were before you melded?
Another whisper. We are the Gemmen. We were people. We are now us. We are safe.
They don't remember who they were before. They're just
Safe isn't-
one thing.
Safe
Did you
isn't worth-
belong?
We thought we did. But it was so much pain. So much existence. It is better this way. We can't hurt. Can't be hunted.
If I have to feel like how I felt in that room when this happened, and he points to his arm, then no, screw that.
Oh, you won't feel anything when you become us.
Then you're not alive.
And there's a chittering sort of sound. What even is alive? If you really want out, there's something, mutters, a door, I think it is called. Yes, we think it is called a door. That way somewhere, and there's a gesture of wind down the path. Don't know why you would want to go back to a place that obviously hurts you so much, but
I don't know about the others, but if it means being me, I know it won't stop until after I'm gone, but like, I want it to hurt. I want to be able to win or lose or have fun with my friends, even if it means sometimes getting beaten up. And I want to hold on even when I keep trying to get thrown off by life. And I want to keep trying and keep experiencing things until whenever it ends, whether it's a long time from now or cut wildly short. And I want to hope and I want to fear and I want everything because it meant that I'm something, that we're something. And that's pretty amazing, even if it hurts sometimes. So if the choice is be like you and not be me anymore, not drink fruity little cocktails with my friends and get hurt together, but also patch each other up, I'd rather it hurt. I want to hurt sometimes if it also means that I get to party and dance and love and enjoy. And I'm sorry that you don't have that anymore. You clearly don't remember what it's like to have all the good things that come along with that hurt.
If that is your choice, we will not stop you. But you could be safe. And then the wind just kind of dissipates.
Okay. I'm getting you all out of here. So let's go.
Yeah. You want to lead?
Yes. I'll go. I keep hold of Hannah's hand and I walk.
Oh yeah, he'll go, but I'm still keeping pace, holding the hand.
Thea
I'm
just
the
sees
hero. Hold my hand.
Thea sees Michael's renewed determination and is like, we're gonna ride this as long as possible. I can only carry one person physically at a time.
But mentally.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Janice
You
keeps
may-
one hand on Michael's shoulder and one hand on Thea's. So we're all
All
a chain.
tight group.
Yeah.
Mhm. So you make your way further down this path, feeling a renewed sense of purpose, especially with Michael's infectious energy leading you on. But hearing there's a door, whatever that may mean, that's an ending point or a transition point. It takes you somewhere. And so you move down this path. As you go down the path further, focusing very intently, moving a little bit slower perhaps than you'd like, with Mike's missing arm, Poppy being carried, but that flash of light still in the back of your eye driving you on, Michael. Just gotta keep going. You've got to save them from whatever this is. You see a small cluster of huts. Not a town, not a village necessarily, but a cluster of huts in front of you. And there's these bright colors, not the peeling paints of the town that you stopped in, but flowers growing in little boxes on the outsides of the buildings, and fresh paint and thatched roofs. And you hear sound. Breaks through the silence. There's civilization of some kind, with maybe actual people in it, or at least beings.
We wonder if it'll be more like the beings we saw before or something new.
Maybe.
And
Should keep going.
you see, coming out of these little huts are these oblong furry creatures with multiple eyes, just long fur covering them completely. And when they speak, you don't see any mouth anywhere, but you hear these cheerful voices saying, "Visitors! Oh, how wonderful! Look at them, they're so beautiful! Oh, visitors! Oh!" And just you see multiples of these furry creatures come rolling out of the buildings, and then pulling themselves up to height and looking at you with all of these eyes.
Nah. Nah. Don't think
No.
so. Nah. Yeah, Michael just is like trying to not pay attention to that.
Valid.
We've already been perceived, unfortunately, it sounds like. So, yeah, we'll just wave and be like, hello, sorry, we were just passing through. I think we're looking for a door. Have you heard of a door?
The door, yes. Yes, it's been so long since anyone asked for the door.
Oh, well, we're asking if that's okay.
Yes, yes. Oh, you want to leave? Yes, you must. I suppose you must leave. You don't belong here, and it will devour you if you stay too long unless you become like the ones that went into the air. And they're just all chattering away. They have these very pleasant kind of voices, but there's a lot of them talking. And yes, it will devour you. You can't stay here unless you want to be like them. The door. Yes, the door.
Yeah, we already talked and we decided we would rather be something than nothing. So we'll take the door. That sounds great. I think hesitantly checks back in with everybody to make sure that not speaking out of turn for the group. I think that's what we picked, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yes.
I think that it's wonderful that you understand that we want to be something and also think that we're beautiful and also know where the door is. Aren't you lovely? You're the best thing here.
And there's a chittering kind of little laughter sound. Yes. We love visitors when they happen. Oh, lovely. You're so lovely. Oh, those eyes, and just little comments. And then you hear one of them start yelling. It says, "It's coming! It's coming! You've got to go! You've got to go down that way! That way!" Pointing down the path. And Michael and Poppy both see that bright flash of light in the corner of your eye is getting brighter and brighter. And now the rest of you can see this flash of light, if you turn, coming up behind you. And Michael, you hear that voice in your head again, that cacophony, that choir of voices saying, "You will be purified. You will be cleansed."
I think Michael goes to anger this time, and he's like, let's just get out of here. Let's go.
And the creatures go, we will hold it back. We can try. Go, please go.
Thank you.
Where is the door?
And these multitudes of limbs go pointing down the path. Just keep going down there. Not too far.
I go sprinting,
Thank you. I'll never forget you.
getting dragging along Janice and Hannah, like dragging them with me.
You see them piling up almost like a furry wall between you and this bright light that comes flashing through the trees. And you run as best as you can with Poppy on your back and just fear and anger and all of these complicated emotions pouring through your bodies at the moment. And you run and you run and you hear a scream coming from behind you, these voices crying out. And that flash of light burns bright. But you seem to be outrunning it, you think, Michael, as best as you can. You climb up this hill. And you see in the distance what looks like a massive stone door. It is a good 10 feet tall. You can spot it from here. It's just, you got to get down the hill. You got to go through the path, just down to that door. You don't know where the door takes you, but anything's got to be better than here. And as you crest the hill and you see the door, there's a sudden haze in the air and a loud cracking noise. And you're suddenly surrounded by tattered robes and those mechanical plague doctor style beaks that you saw in the town. There's sharp implements and scientific equipment floating in the air as they surround you. And a loud voice says, "Stop! Don't worry. We're here to help you. We're going to fix you."
Don't need fixing. Thanks anyway. I'm gonna keep pulling Michael along if Michael stops. I'm just gonna keep going.
It's fine. Don't worry. It's chasing your bodies. If you lose those, you'll be fine. We can fix that for you.
You're right. This is fucked up, insecure, erotic, and emotional. Thank you for your time. Continue hoofing it.
Okay. These things float alongside of you, and those sharp implements start moving through the air, and you see one of them start to close around the threads around you, those brightly colored threads. And I need you all to make me opposed power rolls.
Okay. If I
Probably
fail this, it's
fine.
been lovely working with you all.
It's an extreme.
Nice.
8 under 50.
Okay.
I fail.
Okay. All
I
right.
got a 58.
I
I also got an extreme success.
Okay.
got a 72.
Okay. So you fail. Thea, what's your POW and what was the number you rolled? Because I also got an extreme on my POW.
My power is a 50 and I rolled a 10.
Power's 50. You rolled a 10. All right. Okay. So my POW is a 90.
Yeah, I'll bet it is.
Mm-hmm. And Janice, you watch as some of these sharp implements start snipping away at the threads. Hannah, your right arm disappears. You feel the sharp jabbing pain in your arm, and you hear that voice again getting louder as your arm disappears. Thea, you stumble carrying Poppy because your left leg is gone. Michael, you're missing your other arm now. The threads are cut. You feel you're losing the essence of who you are, of what you are, of everything you've wanted to be is slowly drifting away. And if you don't get out of here, you don't know that you'll be yourself anymore.
I just keep running. Like, I can't hold on to anyone anymore. So this is...
Mhm.
And I can't protect anyone with no arms.
Mhm. And you start running. Lose 3 points of permanent POW for me.
Okay.
And Michael, you were dating someone, weren't you? What was his name? Herbert? No. You can't remember this person who's important to you as you feel those threads burning away as you run. There's just a person-shaped hole in your memory as you try to hold on to... What was his name?
Stop it. You don't get to take anything from me. You don't get to decide. Stop it.
Hannah, as you try to get out of here, you lose 9 points of permanent POW. And did you have a brother? There's someone who's been with you your whole life. You're connected to, but you can't hold on to him, her. The memory of your twin brother begins to melt into the air. You grasp onto it, but it's like trying to hold onto water as that memory just slips through your fingers.
We're getting out of here, and I'll remember whoever that was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and she's just gonna, with her still existing hand, like grab Michael's shirt. I'm still here. We're still here.
We're still here.
We're still here. We'll remember them when we get home, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course we will. Of course we will.
Thea, you lose 6 points of POW as a memory flutters through your mind of trying on someone's dress. And you see this empty void handing you a pair of heels. And this little laugh shattering in the air. You can't remember if that actually happened or not. There was someone there, but that warmth sort of leaves your heart as you realize someone is missing.
I think Thea had to kind of stop and reconfigure with Poppy. And as she kind of feels this warmth leave, she just looks down. She reaches up, she snaps the pearls off her neck. She unhooks her watch. She just hurls them at whatever she can see of these things and goes, "I've forgotten more than you ever got to know. Leave me the fuck alone." And like kind of almost like three-legged race hooks up with Poppy, since we've got one leg each, and just pushing toward the finish line.
Janice, you push forward. You can feel the pain from the others radiating off of their bodies. You can see the fear and the anger and the confusion, and you don't know what's happening, but you know you've got to get them to that door.
I look at the others. I look back toward where the voices are coming from. I say, I've heard voices like yours all my life. I know how to make you go away. And I make eye contact with Poppy, and we start to sing.
Poppy starts singing as loudly as she can. She's crying. She's sobbing, tears running down her face. Her mascara is everywhere. But she looks radiant in this moment as she starts to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And she's hitting notes that she's never hit before as her voice rises in pitch. And you run as best as you can, fighting back those holes in your memories, those gaps, that loss of self that you don't know if you'll ever get back. But you are determined not to lose yourselves any further. And Poppy and Janice singing together gives you something to latch onto as you make your way towards the door. And you run, and you can hear the voice behind you begging you to let them fix you because you need fixing. And you see that light again, Michael, in the corner of your eye, but you're not going to let it win. And you finally get to the door, It's this massive stone door. And the gold flecks you saw on the boat back in the bar are floating around the door. They're hovering. The path stops here. And it's a place. There's no handle, but it stops. And Poppy looks at you and says, I don't know what's through that door, but at least I'm with all of you.
For what
We're
it's
going to do
worth,
this together.
for what it's worth, I've never met people less in need of fixing.
She smiles, says, let's find out what's over the rainbow. She puts her hand on the door and pushes. And you all step through. And in the dark, you hear police sirens. And that is where we will end this game. Thank you all for playing and for letting me traumatize you. I hope this was a cathartic experience for all of you. Thank you to everyone who is watching along and listening. I couldn't keep an eye on the chat, but thank you for engaging with us. And thank you again to the Miskatonic Playhouse for letting me bring this story to life for Pride this month.
Happy Pride!
Thanks for hanging out, Chet. I've never met people less in need in fixing than all of these people, other than the trauma. The new trauma right now.
Yay!
So much trauma.
Thank you, Rina, for bringing such a fantastic scenario. I love that it both plays with the bounds of what you can do within this game system and also brings a very cathartic experience to the table in other ways. It's a very cool use of the tabletop gaming space. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rina.
Thank you, Rina.
Thank you,
I wore
everybody.
mascara- I wore mascara so I wouldn't cry, and it didn't work.
Been subtle
Back
tears.
over to Steve. Yeah, subtle tears. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hand it back over to Steve if there's a...
Ordinarily, we go around one more time. We tell you who we are, where you can find us, all that good stuff. I'm not sure I'm in that headspace myself right now.
Bless.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we just end then by saying that proceeds from this Rina, you can do this better than I can. Feel free to cut me off, but
So this scenario is available on in PDF and print on DriveThruRPG. All proceeds from this scenario during the month of June are going to Trans Lifeline. So if you don't have it already and you'd like to pick it up, your funds will go to a good cause. Trans Lifeline does amazing work with it's by trans people for trans people, and especially in the current climate, having that lifeline is essential. So if you want to support a great cause, please feel free. And thanks again, everyone.
Thank you so much, Rina, for leading us through a very emotional story. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for watching. And as you make your way out of the theater, please remember that you do not need fixing.
Mm.